Hey gang, we're starting early today. We're not going to waste an hour of our lives potentially because Legends of Tomorrow is a repeat.
Thank God for that, and my goggles appreciate that as well.
I thought you might like that. Well, another big trailer hit today, X-Men Apocalypse, and we're going to go ahead and review it. We'll give you guys a couple of minutes to watch it, starting right now. And time. Alright, so now we're all up to speed. X-Men Apocalypse, coming out soon here, Memorial Day weekend. Let's get right into it. This one takes place in the 80s. The last couple have taken place in the 60s as well as the 70s. Here's the thing, those had a good feel to them. I think this is the 80s? I can't really tell. The costumes look very modern. The sets don't really look very 80s-ish. I'm not getting that totally rad, tubular feeling out of this. Looks like we're setting up the villainy between Magneto and Xavier. We've been getting a little taste of that in each of the movies. This one seems like it's really coming to fruition. We're also getting a taste of Apocalypse's origin story from back in ancient Egypt. And it looks like he was worshipped. There's a ceremony with a lot of what looks to be technological equipment. I don't really get it, but we're also getting more of his power. So we saw him grow real big in a previous trailer, and now we're seeing him have the ability to basically knock everyone in the room out aside from Magneto. Good stuff. We're getting better looks at the Four Horsemen. This time, Archangel and Psylocke get a nice beat. I'm still not a big, huge fan of the four that they've chosen, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think that they did a good job of actually designating and showing, hey, these are the four who are going to be your four horsemen this go around. There's one small sequence in there that clearly shows beat to beat to beat to beat, and that gives you that idea of who they are.
We also get that nice wide shot of Apocalypse looking over the big city with the four of them, giving that feeling like those are his horsemen. Hey, there was a 2-for-1 sale in the wide-scale destruction department. We get to see one big dust cloud chewing up a lot of cars and cityscape, as well as the launching of many nuclear missiles. So apparently Apocalypse is not messing around, as he's going to use two different types of attack on the Earth. We got good character beats from all of the newcomers as well as the old schoolers. You got Nightcrawler, you've got Angel and Nightcrawler in some sort of Fight Club scenario that I don't really get. And last but not least, hey, it's Havoc. He's back. That's nice because he was missing from Days of Future Past.
So I think they're starting to run into some of the same problems that they're going to run into over in Captain America Civil War. I get that this is supposed to be X-Men, but they've got so many characters. How are they going to devote enough screen time to all of these different characters to really give them meaningful stuff?
For sure. Especially somebody like Quicksilver, who fans really adored in X-Men Days of Future Past, and he's back this time around to what I'm assuming is going to help free his father from being one of the Horsemen. I really liked one scene, though, where Cyclops and Storm were fighting in the street, and he's blasting his eye beams at her. Pretty much a direct copy, shot for shot, of the cover of a very famous X-Men issue where the two of them were fighting for leadership of the team, so that was pretty cool.
It's good to see them working in a lot of these little things from the comic books. It's a nice treat for those who are familiar with them and have seen these things in the past, and they can go, ooh, I know that.
At the end of the day, I can honestly say the entire trailer, there's not a ton of new stuff in here. If you've seen the Super Bowl teaser with Psylocke, or if you've seen previous previews, a lot of this stuff has already happened, but it is nice to see things like Nightcrawler and Havoc. Missing Jubilee in this one, not a big deal, but again, not a ton of new stuff. No wow moments like Civil War's final trailer or Batman and Superman's final trailer. More movie news, get your hats and whips, kids, because Indiana Jones 5 has been greenlit, confirmed, 2019, Steven Spielberg said so himself.
It's also been confirmed that Harrison Ford is going to play Indiana Jones yet again, sticking with the fact that Spielberg has said that he would be the only one who ever plays Indy in any movie.
Oh, no Shia LaBeouf?
Thank God, no.
Amen. We've got some comic news for you. DC's summer event Rebirth has a little prequel coming called The Super League.
Super League?
Super League. Some of the artists started trickling out. Images like these are showing up all over the internet. And it's basically a Superman focal book, so that's probably why we're going with Super League here. Interestingly, it involves pre-52 Superman, who was supposed to be wiped out when the 52 started up, so we'll see where they take that. It is involving the books Superman, Batman Superman, Wonder Woman Superman, and Action Comics. So it's kind of trickling through the 4 books. And it will inevitably lead straight into Rebirth. So Don't have a lot of details, don't know who they're fighting against, don't know why they're gathering the team. We'll find out, I'm sure, as the event hits later on this year. Meanwhile, Marvel's cranking up their summer event. Since Civil War is hitting the theaters, they might as well have Civil War 2 over in the books. And so they've been releasing some teaser posters for Civil War 2 that involve the phrase, protect the future, change the future. And as of this week, we now know what that means because the two teams are divided over each thing. So you've got the Change the Future team and the Protect the Future team. The Protect the Future team is led by Iron Man. It's got Sam Wilson, Captain America, Thor, Black Panther, Black Widow, Luke Cage, Deadpool, Star-Lord, Hulkling, Daredevil, and what appears to be Hercules. Meanwhile, the Change the Future team is Captain Marvel, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Photon, She-Hulk, War Machine, Spider-Man, Vision, Medusa, and Hawkeye. Captain America and Iron Man just cannot get along. They're once again on either side of the fence up for yet another Civil War. That's going to take place this summer. There's a free comic book day for this as well, so number 0 will hit in May, and then the actual series will crank up. Hopefully it'll end before January of the following year. Wouldn't that be great, kids?
That'd be great for a summer event.
Best TV show casting ever. Paul Reubens has come back to reprise his role as the Penguin's dad on the TV show Gotham, which is cool because he played Penguin's dad back in the 80s Batman 2 movie, the Michael Keaton one, where he has the little crib and he puts him in the stream in it.
How do you know all of this? I thought you weren't watching Gotham.
I'm a supervillain, Cram. I have the internet. Speaking of Gotham, it's renewal season, so Gotham gets a season 3. And over on the CW, they have renewed all 4 of their super shows, so that means The Flash, Arrow, iZombie, and for some god unknown reason, Legends of Tomorrow have all gotten another season.
How?
I don't know, Cram. Photos of the Supergirl Flash crossover started hitting online this week. Looks like it's going to be a really cool episode. Again, he's crossing over into her universe, and it looks like they're fighting 2 of her villains, Livewire, who we've seen before, Silver Banshee, who we have not. And for those of you who have been watching our Flash wrap-ups, I told you guys to watch out for that girl. I warned you this was coming. Of course, the coolest part of this crossover is going to be that they are actually going through with a Supergirl versus Flash race, which is going to be a lot of fun. By the way, last week, I alluded to the fact that the Flash and Superman had gone back and forth in their records. The actual record is 3-0-2. DC actually had them tie their first 2 races. However, Superman has said many times that he has beaten the Flash before, even though it hasn't really shown up in the books, but as a multiversal villain, I can tell you that's actually happened. We've got 3 pieces of Netflix superhero news for you guys. First of all, Daredevil's going to drop this week, and the final trailer came out. I'd like to review it for you, but it's really just a lot of stuff exploding.
So what you're telling me is I really didn't miss anything because I didn't watch it?
Not a ton, but what I'm hearing so far from chatter about the internet reviews that are coming out is that it's okay. I'm hearing like C, maybe. I'm wondering if a lot of that has to do with the fact that Vincent D'Onofrio's not in it because he was so good in the first season. Maybe it's just going to have a sophomore slump. We'll see.
Yeah, he was a really solid anchor, and I could see them having a problem if they don't have someone to fill that role as such a significant bad guy.
2 pieces of news for shows that are coming up on Netflix. Luke Cage gets its debut date, which is September 30th. A little further out than I expected, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, it makes sense to some degree because you got Daredevil coming out now, so you got your spring release. They're not going to do anything over summer because summer, everyone's busy doing everything outside and enjoying the weather, yada, yada, yada. You know, kids are out of school, all that good stuff. So, in that respect, fall kind of makes sense.
And lastly, Iron Fist has been cast. Iron Fist being the last member of this Defenders crew, and Power Man and Iron Fist, Luke Cage is Power Man, by the way, have a lot of history together in the Marvel Universe. Think of him as a Tony Stark martial artist. So he's rich, he's a billionaire, he travels to this mystical city, which is alluded to in Daredevil Season 1 if you were paying attention, and he learns the martial arts and the ability to summon the chi from his mind and soul into one fist so that he can break stuff, pretty much. But Finn Jones is playing the part. He's from Game of Thrones, for those of you who've been watching that show. So no other information given for now, but at least they have the main character down. Should be a fun show. Boy, AMC really enjoys horror-themed comic books. They've already got The Walking Dead, and now they're bringing Preacher to life. So May 22nd, it's going to have its debut. For those of you who don't know the story, Jesse Custer is a small-town minister who infuses with a mystical being named Genesis. That gives him the ability to compel people to do whatever he says by just uttering his voice.
Is that kind of like Purple Man?
Yeah, exactly like Purple Man, but instead of being an evil, rotten bastard, he's an evil, rotten minister.
Okay.
So he's a good guy, but he's got an evil bent to him. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are heavily involved in this as the producers. They did This Is the End, which, if you've seen that movie, you can kind of guess where this is all headed. And they have gone on record to say this is not a pure translation of the comic book, which is probably a good thing because it's a pretty rough comic book to get through. Going to be exciting. I'm interested in seeing the twists and turns and how it differs from the comic book. It's probably going to act more like Walking Dead in that respect. But Garth Ennis has given his blessing. I'm super excited.
And we've got something coming up in the pilot episode as a nice little treat. They're starting off with a storyline that has several different religious ministers blowing up, and one of them is actually going to be Tom Cruise. The actual Tom Cruise.
I love when actors like this take a chance. He's done this before. He did Tropic Thunder. That was hilarious. I'm sure this will be just as funny. Lastly, in the animated film realm, people have been waiting for this for a really long time, and so The Killing Joke is finally ready to come out. The first image still was released. It's got Kevin Conroy as Batman. It's got Mark Hamill as the Joker, as it should be. Everybody's really anticipating this one. And here's something that's really interesting. While I was doing some research on this for the imagery, I came across this picture, which features Jared Leto in the pose of the cover of the Killing Joke book. Really cool stuff. I thought it was a nice tie into Suicide Squad. He probably did it on his own, but it looks pretty close to the original, minus, the teeth and the tattoos and the whole Suicide Squad thing. But very exciting. I can't wait to see this cartoon. Hey, I know we didn't talk about it this week, but Batman vs. Superman comes out next week. Cram and I will watch the movie and review it for you, much like we did for Deadpool, so check it out when it hits.
As always, if you want to follow up on anything that we talked about in the episode this week, check out the links down in the doobly-doo. Feel free to share and subscribe to this video with your friends.
You ready, Cram?
Ready?
Supervillain Freeze Frame.